Hi, I'm Bob Buckhorn, and welcome to the Mayor's Hour again. I'm joined by my ever-present host and great friend, Jack Harris, who has lived through 3 mayors. I don't know why, Jack. I really don't know why. As my mother tells me, you must have way more courage than brains. But we're here today with a...
I don't like that philosophy.
We're here today with one of our favorite shows. And I know, Jack, you know, you have a long history with this organization that we are here today with. If you can't tell, based on what Jack is wearing and my pin, we are here today at the Buccaneer facility to do our show on the Buccaneers. We are at midpoint in the season. It's been a great season so far. We've got some tough games up ahead of us. We've had some key injuries. We're going to get a chance to talk to the architect of a lot of this. We're going to get a chance to talk to Coach Morris, and we're also going to get a chance to visit with some of the players. But right now we have a special guy. And this is a guy that I really appreciate because he came up through the ranks. He's been part of the Buccaneer organization for 17 years, Jack. Started out probably as the water boy, for all I know, and has moved up through the ranks to be the general manager of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Don't let his youthful good looks distract you from the fact that he is a professional in every sense of the word, and he is neck deep in the nuances and the details of this great team and the building of this great team. So, Mark Dominik, we are excited to have you once again on the Mayor's Hour. And we're looking forward to a chat about how's our team doing, what we can expect over the remaining number of games. We are in the beginning of November, Jack.
Yep.
And so we've got a game with Houston coming up tomorrow. And so, first of all, tell us a little bit about your progression to where you are now.
Yeah, no, and thanks, Mayor, for coming here again. Good to see you again, Jack.
Oh, good to see you.
Yeah, I started almost as the water boy. A fair statement. I actually got my degree at the University of Kansas in sports management. And with that opportunity, I had to do an internship. I was fortunate to have worked and volunteered a lot through the athletic department at the University of Kansas and got to know a lot of different people. The Kansas City Chiefs actually called and were requesting an intern for the first time ever in their scouting department. And thankfully, some of the people at the university recommended me. So I had a chance to go interview with the Kansas City Chiefs. I spent a year and a half there with the Kansas City Chiefs after the internship, and a job opened up here in June of 1995. And we in the Kansas City at that point when I was there it was a really good football team. You had Joe Montana, Marcus Allen, Derek Thomas, some really great players, and coming off a lot of good seasons. But Tampa had actually put together what I thought were 2 really good draft classes with Trent Dilfer and Eric Rett, and they followed that up obviously with the greatest draft class in Buccaneer history with Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks. And I thought it would be worth a shot to come down here when that job opened. So I came down, interviewed with Rich McKay and Jerry Angelo, people that I'm sure in Tampa know very well. They offered me the job, and we went 6-10, as Sam Weiss would say, and the Chiefs went 13-3, and I thought I lost a Super Bowl ring, but everything worked out in the end, and I've been here ever since.
Your genius has been in finding diamonds in the rough, so to speak. I mean, last year, everybody was aghast that you were not GM of the Year by unanimously, by acclamation, because you have found some incredible talent that nobody thought was there. How do you do that?
Well, we spent a lot of time upstairs, and I appreciate it. Last year was a special season for our football team, certainly as growing to where we want to be and what we want to become consistently as a football team. But we spend a lot of extra time upstairs and watch tape. At the end of the day, they hired me as a scout and also the general manager, and I keep that mindset going, is that my first priority, number one, is to find talent on this football team and try to improve it in any possible way. But we obviously purged this roster really heavily back in 2009.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of time to try to rebuild it. And we're still in the midst of where we want to be in terms of finished product, but we know we're getting there. And I know that this season, as the mayor talked about, it's a 4-4 season so far. We've had our ups and we've had our downs, but I like the direction and the experience that this team is gaining as we're playing these games right now on Sundays.
Mark, and this is important for those of us who try to provide a role model for young people. How important is character in your selection of a player?
Mm-hmm. No, it's a big factor, and we certainly will look at anybody from any situation. And to me, you have to delineate character and what it actually means in terms of off the field, on the field, you know, things that they need to take care of and can they take care of. And what have they grown up, what's the environment they've been in when they've grown up to, and can that change if we put them in a good environment here. So it does make a big difference to us in terms of the type of team we want to field. And when I think about guys that are on our football team, you know, we just had an event yesterday at James Haley Hospital where we had a chance to go out and visit a bunch of our wounded warriors and just say thanks to a lot of our veteran people. And I had Josh Freeman with me, and Kellen Winslow was there, and Quincy Black and Gerald McCoy. And to me, that's the character of our football team, because they wanted to be there and wanted to go meet those men and women that have served for their country and now are, you know, rehabilitating. So it's important to me that we have players that really want to be involved in our community and be great on and off the football field.
As a relatively young franchise, how important is the standards and the traditions set by that great class, the John Lynch's and the Rondé Barber, who's still playing, and the Derek Brooks and the Warwick Dunns? I mean, they were out in the community on a day-to-day basis, and they set the bar pretty high.
Yes, they
I mean,
did.
is that what these young folks aspire to do?
Yeah, I think for me, fortunately, from Kansas City to Tampa Bay, I've had a chance now to work with 7 different general managers and 10 different head coaches. And a couple of them obviously stand out, and one of them is Tony Dungy, and how important the community was to what he did and what he's still doing in the Tampa Bay community now. And watching that and watching what Warwick Dunn set up for the homes, and just watching the Shelton Quarles Foundation, certainly what John Lynch did. It's important that we continue that and try to raise that bar. And so it's been something that since I've had the chance to take over along with Coach Morris, we've really stressed be involved in our community. And that's why it starts everywhere. It starts up top. That's where it's important for me to be involved with the military. It's important for me to be involved with adoption and foster care. And then I also do a lot of stuff with Pediatric Cancer Foundation. So there's certain things, but they need to see I'm doing it. They need to see Coach Morris, who does it with education. And then we want them to be out there. And we find something that ties into that player, something that maybe he grew up in. Maybe he grew up in the YMCA, or maybe he has a cousin with cystic fibrosis. Whatever it is, we find the attachment element to it, and then make them go out there in the community and let them be a part of that, because it's important to them inside. Okay. And it's really worked out well.
I've never seen any statistics, and I'd love to see somebody do a study on it, but I think we probably have more professional athletes who retire here than any other market in the country, even New York or Los Angeles or these others, that so many of them decide, you know, they come here from somewhere else, obviously, play professional football, and then say, I like the community, I'm going to stay here. Guys like Derek Brooks and Warwick Dunn and all of these other guys, even when they leave, people like Vinny Testaverde is back again, and so many others have come back here after they've gone to other teams.
I think Derek Jeter owns an entire island.
Oh yeah,
so
he does.
10 houses away from my house.
That's right around.
We love we love Vinny LeCavier and Derek. They live right there on the street.
I see Tino Martinez around a lot.
Yeah, Tino's there.
A lot of great stuff.
Yep, it really is, and we do. We have such a great tradition. It's like our military partners.
Yep.
You know, a lot of the flag officers also retire here once they get exposed to this great environment.
That's right.
Yeah, it is a similar situation. As general manager, and coming up through the ranks of the scouting, and to me it seems so important, but it also puts a huge burden on you, because you're expected to be the sage in player selection, but at the same time, you're also the CEO of this enormous organization. That's got to be a really daunting task to do all of those things and keep doing them.
You know, I think it's probably the same that the mayor has to deal with. You make sure you surround yourself with good people, and people that you can trust, and people that you say, if you can take care of this for me, and you feel like as you walk away, they walk out the door, they're going to be able to handle it. And then you just get a follow-up and make sure that it goes the way that you would expect it to go. And that's what we try to do here. You know, we really empower people around us. Our organization is about communication. That's been a big mantra of mine since I had this opportunity to make sure that I'm walking around the building, getting to know everybody, talking to everybody, what the expectations are, and then empowering people to be able to take on those expectations and do a great job with it. And we've done that here. So it makes my job easier in that capacity, is that I really rely on the people that we've hired to be able to handle their jobs proficiently and make my job so I can try to get back in the laboratory and try to watch more film to make sure we make the right selections on draft day as well as through the season.
I was going to say, be kind of like him. Before you go to work, you have to stop and fill a couple of potholes or something. You got to go work in a film room. Go into a film room, or whatever they call it now, the video room, and look at these guys, and especially when you have injuries again, like you've had to Gerald McCoy and some other guys, and you've got to take guys you already have and move them up, and then find the guys to come in here. And that's where you seem to find these diamonds in the rough, so to speak, guys that turn out being important parts of the team in coming years.
We've done a lot of different things in terms of how we attack our roster. A lot of it's building through practice squads, whether it's our own or taking somebody off another team's practice squad. But building a team that grows up together has been really important. And obviously, the whole youth and being a young team only lasts for so long. We want to become an experienced team, a veteran team that plays consistently, so we can be in the hunt for a playoff berth every year. And right now, we're a couple games behind New Orleans. We have an opportunity this weekend against the Houston Texans, which are coming off really a lot of good games. And it's going to be a good test, and certainly we have the Packers after that. So there's nothing to look forward to except one game at a time, and right now we're at 4-4, and we're still in the hunt right now.
Can you, and we'll keep this a secret, all right? We won't tell anybody.
Nobody.
Don't tell anybody, all right? What are you looking for next year as you go into a draft? I mean, are there any glaring weaknesses or holes that you need to fill?
There are. To me, again, kind of what we talked about a little bit earlier on is I don't feel like we're at a finished product yet. And really, I don't think that the Packers feel like they're a finished product. I think they always feel like there's got to be a couple more pieces that they can add to that football team. For me, we've done a lot on the front seven over the last couple of years in terms of free agency, in terms of re-signing some of our own players, and certainly drafting all the defensive linemen that we've drafted to try to really build our front seven to make us a stronger team. So the back end of the football team is important to me, corners, safeties, and then to continue to look at pass rushers. Offensively, I still always want to get more playmakers for Josh Freeman and have the ability to make sure we keep them healthy too. So playmakers, defensive backs, that kind of thing, offensive linemen are all going to be really important to this football team, and still areas where I'd want better competition so that when we make the tough cuts come next September, we'll keep the right 53 men.
How's Rondé Barber doing?
He's a machine.
Yeah.
He's amazing. He really, I say this a lot of times, he's probably one of the most underappreciated Buccaneers of all time for the way he plays and what he does. He had another interception last week.
He sure did.
Had an opportunity in Chicago, had a safety, a tackle for loss. So he's just continues to defy the position, and really the longevity is amazing for a guy that's 6 foot tall, 180, 6 foot tall. I make him sound like a giant. He's like 5'10". He's 185 pounds, and to play, now start almost 190 consecutive games or 191 consecutive games in this league and never miss the next start at this level is very impressive.
He reminds me a lot of Marty St. Louis on the other side.
Yeah.
I mean, his training regimen and his mental toughness and his desire to get out there and compete is, in an undersized package. There's hope for me. Although my training regimen is not quite the same thing. I train with Cuban coffee and
that works.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm on to yours.
But he really is such a quiet leader. I mean, just by his presence, I think he has an impact on that locker room.
And
he
now
does.
24, I think it is, interceptions and all of that. He's got a shot at the Hall of Fame. And we've got one in there right now, but we're liable to be full of Hall of Famers in the not too distant future because of that bunch that you came up with.
Yeah, that's important. And we really are focused on trying to add to that list. It was a long time it was one, and certainly we have guys that are going to get in. That should be hopefully first ballot guys. Certainly Derek Brooks should be a first ballot.
Derek would.
Right. I hope that John Lynch gets in quickly. And with Rondé Barber, the way he's playing and what he's done at his position and setting so many different records that no one else has ever had in terms of milestones, and just his consistency at his age is really a good reason where if we can win some more games and give him some more opportunities, I still hope he can make another Pro Bowl appearance this year. Hope we can get to the playoffs and let him have some success there again.
You might have found another one of those gems in Josh Freeman. I mean, nobody expected the kind of talent that he displayed last year and has done so in flashes this year, and he's going to return to because it's there.
Yeah, he's a young man. You consistently lose the fact that he's 23 years old. He just really, for us, he just finished up his second full season, 32 starts, which is important. And he's played New Orleans. He played New Orleans well twice. He had 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no turnovers, and that's how you stay in games. And so he's kept us in the divisional games. He hasn't played as consistent this year, but he's on track with better accuracy right now. He's at a higher percentage. And I really believe he's just going to continue to grow as he continues to mature and gets more experience in this league. And he's the franchise of this town and the franchise of this football team, and we're looking forward to it.
He strikes me at a relatively young age, actually a very young age, to have more poise than I've seen in a long, long time. He doesn't seem to get rattled. Certainly when he's at this podium and these lights are on, he's not fazed at all by it. He answers the questions. He does so in a very methodical, cerebral kind of way. And I'm sure he's probably got that calming influence in the locker room too. Clearly, he's a physical specimen.
Yeah,
I mean, I saw him at the Ice Pal. He's a big guy.
He's a large man. He's 6'5.5". He's 260 pounds.
And he's
muscle.
Yeah.
And he's mobile. And he has a great calming presence. And really, when he's frustrated and when he wants to get something right, he's not afraid to step up to a veteran that may be here, whether it's Ernest Graham, whether it's Kellen Winslow, and talk to them and tell them what he needs them to do. And that's a sign of a really good leader. So sometimes when you see that on the sidelines about our football team, you want our quarterback to be able to explain to a guy what he needs to get done, what we need to do to succeed, because the great ones did that. I mean, you can think of Peyton Manning and the way that he'll get frustrated, or Tom Brady does. Or certainly I can go back to Dan Marino and some of his tirades that he's had because he wants the best. He wants to make sure that we have success. And right now, offensively, we're not finishing drives the way we want to be finishing drives to put more touchdowns on the board. and that's frustrating everybody on offense, but Josh is handling it the right way.
Yeah, you're talking about the draft going after the defense. I think people still around here appreciate good defense, and that goes all the way back to our first team in 1979.
Leroy Selman?
Yeah, Leroy and that bunch, and not much in the way of offense, but enough to stop the other guys.
That's right.
So we could just score enough. And I think that tradition's kind of been maintained. And you were talking about looking for good pass rushers, always trying to find those good pass rushers and everything. But, you know, you got to have a little offense. You got to score some points along the way, too. But that's, again, a very daunting challenge to try to get the right balance when you look at what's available.
It's tough. You know, the important thing on this league is two things. You know, we really, on defense, it's stop the opponent, get the ball back for offense. But the league's really changed in terms of the rules, in terms of scoring. So it's become more of an offensive league. But I think the teams that are consistent, that don't forget the defensive side of the ball, are the teams that you see always at the end of the year. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's the Baltimore Ravens, you know, it's the New York Jets. It's the teams that always come to the end of the season and say, boy, that's a pretty good defensive team. No wonder they're still in the playoff hunt. And it's the teams that struggle a little bit defensively sometimes have a hard time winning in the playoffs and moving forward. So there is a delicate balance there. But we want to, hopefully, the nucleus that we have right now, we start to retain as they start to grow up a little bit more, and keep adding talent and young talent in here and get enough playmakers in here to be that force that we want to be.
I want to ask you about something now. All this talk about playing in London, and you've played 2 out of 3 years in London. Have you been able to learn to speak English?
I'll tell you this, I haven't figured out, I would never drive a car there. There's no way I'm going to pick up a rental car.
I tried it, I did it.
Not a chance. It's scary enough to walk across the street because you're forced to walk and look the direction you would normally walk if you're in the United States. When you're in London, you have to look the opposite direction. It takes a lot of training. And they paint these things on the ground that say, look left, look right, just for Americans, I'm sure. So, yeah, I've got my English down. Not as probably proper, but I'm okay there.
Yeah, because the NFL, you know, there's all this talk about maybe we're going to play one of our home games over there permanently. And, of course, I know a lot of season ticket fans aren't too crazy about it, but at least, you know, we'll get to watch them on TV. And the English, when they come to this country, maybe will be more prone to come to the Tampa Bay area when they want to visit this country, because they will be better acquainted with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's the one positive side I've seen on this talk about, you know, regularly playing over there, that all of a sudden we become all of England's home team, and when they come over here, they want to go to their home.
I would jump on that, Jack, and say that was interesting that you say that, because a lot of people I met over there have a vacation home or love to come to the Florida area and really close to the Tampa Bay community. There was so many people that want to make this a vacation destination. And obviously that's, I'm sure, important for everybody to continue to build up tourism. But it did because I heard a lot of people one-on-one conversations be, oh yeah, we go to Clearwater, or we go to Largo, or we go to Sarasota, wherever it is. But I heard a lot of people over there that talk about wanting to come to Florida to enjoy this weather.
Well, being Irish, can you ask them for my land back?
I'm not touching that.
Okay.
I'm not touching that. I don't play any U2 over there, and I don't talk about that either.
On a serious note, you are not only here 18 hours a day, but you and your wife are also very active in the community. Mm-hmm. And you've got some causes that you believe very deeply in. I mean, you and I are young dads. Mm-hmm. You're a little bit younger than I am, but you've got some things that you believe in, and want to use
youngsters here. My goodness,
want to use your pulpit as general manager in your organization to be able to affect some change. Tell us about that.
Well, I have 3 or 4, really 4 things that are really important to me, and it's a lot, but I try to really specialize in certain areas. Certainly, the military is very important to me. Not only just because MacDill Air Force Base is here, but I have a lot of family members that served. My brother, my father, my grandfather served in World War I. And then my wife's an Army brat, so she lived all through the military with her father being over 20 years in the U.S. Army. So I get the importance of the sacrifice and the choice that our military men and women make when they decide to serve for our country. And I want to continue to raise awareness so that people never take it for granted, because it's such an important freedom that we have, and what they risk every day, regardless of where they're at, they risk every day, or the decision they make really affects our lives and what we can be and what we can do. So that's an important one. Adoption and foster care is really important. I grew up in a foster care family. We had a foster care sister for a while named Christy. And we tried to adopt her, but we moved out of state and it didn't work out. She got to go back with her grandparents, which is great. And then our 2 of our children, I should say, are adopted, Davis and Emerson. And they're the best things that's ever happened to our family, amazing gifts for us. And so I continue to want to raise awareness about adoption and foster care and what that can really mean just in Hillsborough County alone. But in the Tampa Bay community, there's 400 children just waiting to find a family right now. And it's amazing when you sit there and step back. I just was watching a show with my wife, I'll admit, and learning that Faith Hill was adopted. I had no idea that she was adopted either. But it just goes to show you, there's a match out there for you. And we want to continue to talk about how it's enriching for everybody, whether you're the parents or the sibling or the child. It's an amazing, amazing thing to do. Just recently became a board member of the Pediatric Cancer Foundation, which I think is a really special cause here in Tampa, and they've got a lot of good events. And it's a cancer that affects children that doesn't get the funds and the money that can be affected when you're talking about prostate or something that affects millions of people, or breast cancer. This is for children, and for me, that's obviously that tugs at your heart, and so it was really important. And then I've started to team up with All Pro Dad and Mark Merrill and Family First, and with Tony Dungy, and really being part of that too, because again, all these things are important. And yes, there's a podium here, and I want to raise awareness, but I also want to be a pillar and be an example of those things. And so whenever we have a chance, and I appreciate you doing this, to talk about those events and those things, we're involved. Like I talked about with the Haley just yesterday. It's been important, and we're working with National Adoption Awareness Month. And so this month is a big month that we're going to try to do a lot of things to continue to raise awareness throughout our community about that. So I appreciate it. It's important to me.
I want to do one more thing, kind of a little bit of an exclusive here for Mayor's Hour viewers, and that is to talk about another thing they do, and that is on the shirts they wear at home games, because this is a very hot environment down here. And how does that work if you want to wear the light shirts the first 4 games and then the dark shirts the second 4 games?
How do we choose which jersey we wear for the games?
Yeah.
We actually have to send that into the league. Actually in July, we have to kind of establish which jersey. The pants are our choice any game, any week. So we just can only, but we only have 3 jerseys we're allowed to wear. We're allowed to wear our white, our red, and then our throwback jersey. And so those are the 3 jerseys we're allowed to wear. We just can determine. Generally, you'll see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers come out in the preseason at nighttime in our reds, for the most part. During the early part of the season, you'll usually see us in white jerseys.
Which is
London,
normally
we wore red because of the
away
cool.
jerseys.
And then at the end of the season, you'll see us in our reds, and we'll play our red jersey like we will show against the Houston Texans. We'll be in our red, but then we'll just change the pants between the pewter and the white pants depending on what's the hot pants and what's working for us.
Yeah, normally, to point out to viewers again who aren't aware, normally you have dark uniforms are for home, white uniforms for the road. But because of the extreme heat here, September, October, and
we like to put the opponents in the darker uniform.
Put them in there.
Even if it's
you have
just
to
a
let them know all the way
break.
back in July to do that. Another job for the general manager.
Absolutely.
He's a fashion designer.
He is. Don't you wear pewter pants. Mark, thank you for opening up this great facility to us, and thank you for your time. And we appreciate what this organization does. We bleed Buccaneer pewter as a city. We live and die by how our Bucks do, and so we couldn't be prouder of what you've built here, and Coach Morris and the players and the caliber and the character of those folks. And thank you for what you do on a personal level. I mean, Jack and I see it, how you honor those military veterans and wounded warriors. I mean, it sends a chill through the crowd every time you see the flyover or you see those wounded warriors come out on the field. And so, and just for the record, I won the snook division of your pediatric cancer tournament 2 weeks
very
ago.
nice.
So it was a big fish. It's gotten bigger.
It's getting bigger.
It's gotten bigger. The more times I tell the
Started
story.
out here, just keeps
it's just
expanding.
growing, Jack. And so my wife now thinks I have some value.
Well done.
But that fish probably cost me about 50 grand after 10 years of chasing a fish that big. But Mark, thank you, and to all of you once again, thank you for joining us. We're coming back with Coach Morris and some of the players, and you're looking forward to a great Mayor's Hour. So we'll be right back. We have a very, very special guest with us today, Jack. This is somebody who has inspired this community since he's been here, and certainly in his role as the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's got more energy than anybody I met, and that smile of his is absolutely contagious. He has elevated this city. We are so proud of you, Coach. Joining us now, and I want you to stay with us because this is going to be a good one. And he came bearing gifts.
Oh, that's sweet.
Not because I have any future in football. At 5'9", 100 and something.
Yeah, I was going to say they had to look long and hard to find one that small.
They did. I can fit my entire family in this in this jersey, Coach. But I will display this proudly along with.
I was just making sure you put it on a wall and not try to wear it anywhere.
Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm too old to be wearing jerseys around town. But yeah, Coach Morris, thanks for being with us. It's an exciting time, exciting
awesome.
Season. Yeah.
Awesome, really is.
So how
really
we doing?
Well, we're excited. You know, we're 4-4 at the halfway point. We're going to a big-time game here versus the Houston Texans at home, which we're expecting the crowd to be loud and they've been great all season. You know, home's been a nice place for us right now. I believe we're 2-1 at the house. You know, coming into that stadium, feeling the fans' energy, you know, it really helps us out a bunch. You know, we got a young football team with a bunch of fans that go nuts when we go in the stadium, and that's what we love.
You know, last year you were talking about winning 10 early in the season, and people were saying, what is he smoking anyway? He's got to be crazy, and you won 10. This year you're now 4-4, and we've been, you know, we've talked to people about your attitude probably is going to be something like finishing 12-4.
You know, I actually mentioned that today, but you know, the key to it, which our team has been focused on this year, is winning the division. And you know, unfortunately, we just lost a big-time division game, but we are 2-1 in the division, and we still have an opportunity. You know, we still got a couple games coming up in Division 3 to be exact, and we look forward to those games. But the most important game always is the next game, and right now we play the Houston Texans.
Well, you know, the interesting thing is, and I was talking to some people around here about it earlier, this year it almost seems like there's parity across the board in the NFL. Nobody is really bad except Indianapolis maybe, and nobody is really good except maybe the Packers. But I mean, teams that were expected to do well aren't doing well. Teams expected to do poorly are doing better.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the NFL. I believe it's like that every single year. You know, last year we were supposed to be terrible, and somehow we got 10 games out despite the amount of people that didn't believe us. But
and you got shafted by the officials, or you'd have been in the playoffs and beat Detroit.
Jack said that, not me.
No, I know. I don't want to get you fined. I said it. I saw it. I watched it again and again and again.
Yeah, he said it, but no, you know, it's just the way the league is, and it's a beautiful thing. We love the parity. We love the fact that anybody can win a championship, and we just happen to believe somebody has to be the best. Why not us?
And well, how's your young quarterback doing, Josh?
You know, he's doing well. You know, the best part about our young quarterback is he's right in the mix. We're not playing anywhere near close to our best football, and we're right in the middle of the pack. We've got some big-time wins on our belt. Like I mentioned, we're 2-1 in our division. We have the opportunity to win some more games and win our division possibly, and go into the playoffs. And hopefully, like we did last year in the second half of our season, we can really hit stride.
You have run into a thing here with injuries, an extraordinary number of injuries this year. That's got to be a cross to bear, to have to keep replacing players and sometimes key players. You
know, for me, that's gray matter. You know, you got to be mentally tough, just like this town. You know, people go down all the time, and it's got to be the next man up theory. It's got to be the next fan up theory. You know, whatever happens, whatever the case may be, we got to get our guys going and get them going in the right direction in order to win the game. You know, I tell people all the time, 90% of the people don't care about your problems, and the other 10% are glad you have them. We like to think that we're going out.
Politics.
We like to think that we're going to go out and get our next man in there and train the next guy and be better.
Well, another thing, and we've touched on this before, but the fact that your quarterback, Josh Freeman, has this uncanny ability to come from behind. I mean, I always call it the Montana-esque kind of look to him, because Joe Montana was so great at that, to take a game that seemed to be hopelessly lost and be able to come back in it. How does a lad like that come up with that kind of an attitude? I mean, he seems so mature for his age.
And when you bring that up, you know, he's wise beyond his years, but that actually makes me think about when we decided to pick him, and the owners asked me, what is his it factor? And that's kind of his it factor. What is his game that he brought his team back and he put them on his shoulders? And we mentioned a couple in college, and he's brought that from college with him to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The biggest thing is his confidence in himself. He is not he loves winning more than he's afraid to lose, and that's the biggest thing that has going for him.
Well, how's we're heading into the game with Houston. What do we have after that?
You know, we got Green Bay after that.
Oh, is that a home game or a away game?
It got an away game, but
okay.
It's one game. It's one game at a time. We arguably got the best running attack coming into the league, 1-2 punch with Ben Tate and Arian Foster, and that line and the challenge they present themselves. So I got to get my team ready for this game, and then we'll go tackle the giant, or the two giants in a row, to be honest with you, as they come.
You guys seem to have a knack for going out and finding outstanding players, you know, that nobody's ever heard of. I mean, like LeGarrette Blount was a good example. And, you know, when you get guys like Gerald McCoy go down, key people like that going down, and you're having to keep replacing these guys, and that's bringing up guys to replace them. Think you found anybody really outstanding now?
We got to get them in there. You know, we have Brian Price that we have on the shelf that's still with us. We got guys like we just picked up in McCargo, and hopefully we get these guys going and playing fast, playing hard, playing smart, and playing more consistent, and we'll get them to go out there and win football games, because that's the only thing the town cares about.
Coach, how are the players doing out in the community? I know they're really busy now. I see them more than I probably ever have seen them before doing charitable events. Yeah. I know that's part of your core mission to them and their desire to give back to the city.
It's really important for our guys to get out in our community and do things for our city and do things for our fans and our community and our kids. You know, I put a lot of focus into education You see me at a lot of schools, at a lot of school events, and a lot of things of that nature. I got players that's done a lot of things. Actually, tomorrow, Hayward, the guy you just met, is coming in. He's having an event tomorrow that I'm going to. So we look forward to being out in our community. It's very important for us to get out there. It's very important for us to be seen. And I just think that people are starting to embrace their young football team and really make a run for this thing.
And it's so great when these kids,
That's what
because
they are.
these guys have such terrific power in them because people look up to them so much, especially a guy like a Josh Freeman, but across the board, if you wear the Buccaneers on your shirt on Sunday, people are going to have deep respect for you and look up to you so much, and they wear that well.
I believe that the youth in our town, the people in our town, when you get a chance to see these guys, you can look at them and say, hey, I can be like that one day. You can strive to go to the NFL or strive to be successful in your career, whatever the case may be, and that's a positive part for us.
I want to talk just real quickly about this thing about discipline, too. How do you work out this deal with penalties?
Yeah.
Because you've got such a problem with that from time to time. And I know you come into here and you work all week. How do you get a guy not to create a penalty situation?
You know, really it's about being smarter. It's about playing smarter, and it's about being unselfish. It's about caring about your team more than anything else that day, more than yourself. And what we got to do and what we've been doing is punishing our whole team together. We jump off sides, we create a penalty in practice, we run together, we want to do all these things together. We want to point fingers, we want to get the problem fixed from within. When you have a young football team, those are some of the challenges you have to bear with, but those are some of the things you have to deal with, but those are also some of the things that won't be tolerated by their young football coach. And it's my job to correct that thing, and I will get it corrected.
I saw you getting in the face of an unnamed player the other day. It's a good thing they put the blue blob on your...
I apologize to our fans already for that.
It was appropriate. The look on your face, it was like the look I used to get from my dad sometimes. And so I think he got the message.
Hopefully the message sinks into everybody and not just ex-player, but it's really got to happen for all of us. In order for us to compete against a team of the caliber of the New Orleans Saints, like we did the other day, and go out there and get a win, we got to play mistake-free football.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm looking back again. I keep harping on last year, and you definitely were the coach of the year in everybody's mind around here. Because nobody expected that kind of a finish, 10 wins, and yet you were setting that up. Now, have you set up any specific goal other than to win the division this year?
That's what it's mainly about. Last year we talked about winning a race to 10, and that meant be the first team to 10, and try to finish it off that way. This year we're more focused on winning our division, and if we can win our division, that automatically qualifies for the playoffs, which you all want to be in, which is an exciting time, which can bring out the battle flags and get everybody really in the town pumped up. And that'd be the ultimate goal for us, to get in the playoffs and win it.
And it seems like Atlanta and New Orleans are waiting on you.
Yeah, they're going to be there. New Orleans, we split this year with them, so we're done with New Orleans right now.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen in the future, but we got one more game with Atlanta, and we got a tough Carolina team down there in Carolina. We got to play twice still. That's playing really well on their young offense and their young football team as well. So we look forward to those challenges.
Now, Coach, when you win the Super Bowl, do the hosts of the Mayor's Hour get rings?
Hey, that'll be up to our ownership. But if it's up to me, we certainly will.
I'm teasing you.
Sounds like a plan. You're going to have to get a ring before you get out of here. That was what Mayor Arrelious always grossed about. You just barely missed it.
Yeah, she did. I was there for the last time they won it. It was an amazing journey. Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah,
and
sure
we got to do it again.
Oh, yeah. I think that would be appropriate. It's about time for another one here.
I like it.
It's okay to have Super Bowls here, but it's better to have Super Bowl winners here.
I love that. You're exactly right.
It sounds like a plan.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you joining us today. It means we know how busy you are. We don't like bothering you during the season.
That's all right. I actually got a meeting right now we're getting ready to head to.
You got a lot of fans out there that watch this show that are pulling for you, that are pulling for you personally and pulling for our young team. And so we're all Buccaneer fans, and we wish you the best. And I'm ready, Coach. Whenever you need me. I'm even lamer than Connor Barth is, but
quarterback number, no less.
Absolutely. Come on, Jack.
2011.
Yeah, 2011.
Okay.
There we go.
That works.
So I used to have an arm, Coach, but it's we'll do the best we can.
It is what it is.
Thanks.
We appreciate you guys being here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming again.
Okay, we're here now with Connor Barth, who has, I think, the toughest job in the world. I would never want to be a kicker, because it's like being the mayor. If there's a screw up, it's your fault.
It's all on your plate, Connor.
It is. The key is to make more than you miss. And that's kind of what I live by. And, like I said, just have fun out there and hopefully it goes through the uprights.
Tell us a little about your background, where you came from, went to school, and coming to the Buccaneers?
I'm a beach guy at heart. I'm from Wilmington, North Carolina. Chapel Hill guy, Tar Heel.
Those really aren't beaches up there.
Yeah, they're nice beaches. You know, looking forward to the 2011 basketball season, of course. Preseason number 1. So always proud about that. But from Wilmington, North Carolina, went to Kansas City my rookie year, and then now here with Tampa last 3 years, and it's been great. And looking forward to finishing up a great season. So.
Now, Connor, did you grow up as a soccer player?
I did, yeah. Soccer my whole life. Thought that's what I was going to do, but then things changed, and I saw somebody kick, and I was like, I think I can try that, and I think I can do that. So I went out there freshman year of high school and had a tryout, and they're like, wow, you know, they never had a kicker. So went out there, hit them far, and from there on out, it's been a lot of fun.
You ever play soccer now just for fun or anything like that?
You know, I juggle the football around out there a little bit, but it's a little bit different because it's not a perfect circle. So
it doesn't work well at all.
You know, every day I try to get a new amount of juggles to see how many I can get. So I think my record's 25 right now. So I'm trying to increase that every day. So it's kind of fun, you know, it keeps things light, and you know, like I said, it's fun.
But, you know, we were joking about it at the beginning, but that is the loneliest job in the world when you go out there, because if the holder doesn't screw up and the snapper doesn't screw up, it's all on your back. I mean, winning a game, losing the game, whatever it might be.
It's like that song by Adam Sandler called The Lonely Kicker, you know? It's kind of my thing, you know, I listen to that. No, it's fun, you know, we have a good little group of guys. Raheem keeps it light. You know, he always makes fun of me because I have this awesome follow-through. And you can see him in the background right now. So you ever see it? I have a great follow-through, so if you ever see it on TV. But no, it's, you know, I got Eco and Mike over there. We have a good time with Stukes and Byron. We have a lot of fun over there. We play some games, but, you know, when it's crunch time, we go out there and try to perform.
Now, if you had your druthers now, you're looking at a situation here, would you rather they go on and win the game without you having to kick a game-winning field goal? Or do you ever sit around and say, you know, it'd really be nice to get this thing down to about the 20-yard line.
Coach is right here.
Let me go out there. No, but he's not listening. He promised he wouldn't listen. The coach is over here, Raheem Morris. I mean, do you really think about that? You know, I've got to go out there. There's a good chance I'm going to go out at the 20 and try for, let's see, 37-yard field goal.
Perfect scenario is kicking about 7 extra points a game, and just scoring every time. That's it for me. And that's an easy day for me. I can go out there and hit seven extra points. But hey, you know, if like I said, if it need to be, we need a kick game winner, I'll go in there and put it through.
So Connor, what's it like before a big kick? I mean, you're sort of out there by yourself. Are you just in your head? Do you not even pay attention to the other guys? Because the other guys kind of laugh at kickers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're you know, everyone. No one likes the kicker. You know, everyone hates kickers. So we just kind of go over there, and we never practice. We just kind of sit over there on the sidelines. We leave. We go in and lift weights, and everyone else is still out
Kickers
there.
Kickers lift weights?
No. Come on, do you see this right here?
These guys are laughing at you now.
No, I've always had the phrase, I remember my freshman year when I kicked the game winner against Miami, my coach said, don't eat yellow snow. So that's kind of been my my motto for the rest of my life. You know, it just kind of keeps me light. Just go out there, don't eat yellow snow. It just kind of makes you laugh. And I didn't get it the first second, but then I was like, there it is. And
you have to be from North Carolina to get it, I guess.
Or somewhere up north.
No, so it's, like I said, you just go out there for any kick. You're just like, hey, I've done this in practice a million times. And, you know, the worst thing is, you know, you hope you don't miss it, but like I said, you're not going to make every one of them, and that's how you got to kind of think about it.
So are you able to tune out the noise in the audience? I mean, I kind of do that with city council.
Yeah.
But do you get to, I mean, are you just so focused that you don't hear any of that background noise?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. As soon as you get out there, I'm taking my steps back.
Right.
You know, you kind of hear guys talking trash about your mom or different things like that, but as soon as you step back and take your steps over, and everything just kind of just cancels out, and you can't even hear a pin drop in the stadium. I mean, I remember against New Orleans my first year here, it was overtime. We were kicking that game winner, and the whole place was shaking. I mean, the field was shaking, and just all of a sudden it just kind of stops, and you know, you make it, and things are great. So it's kind of a different little scenario.
I've always wondered, when the other team calls a timeout and they try to put that pressure on you, does that work, or does that have any impact at all? I
think it kind of helps, actually. I mean, it kind of gives you a second to step back and, you know, think about it, take a few extra swings. So I think if you're a coach, I think icing's kind of a joke. I think it doesn't really work. I think if anything, it helps. Like I said, because you can kind of step back and really think about what you got to do, and, you know, line up your target and things like that. So if you just go out there and let the guy kick, think you're going to have a lower percentage of making it. So I think that so for future coaches, I think icing's kind of not the best idea. You know, I think it helps the kicker.
You certainly don't want to do it against Connor. Well, I tell you what, it's great to have you and your skills with our Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I like your attitude too, and I guarantee you, Coach Morris does too. You want to go out and kick 7 extra points a game.
I try to be like Coach Morris every day. He's awesome. So
yeah.
I try to be more like him. I live through him.
You must have a contract coming up or something, right? Is it sucking up a part of this?
You're on to something. I think you're on
No,
to
that's
something.
how I always am. You know, I'm never serious. I don't ever like to be serious. I mean, I'm serious when I gotta be, but 95% of the time I'm just chilling.
Oh, you're a very cerebral guy too, and it's great to have you with us on the Mayor's Hour and with our Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Thank you, Connor.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Connor.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
I'm here with Arrelious Benn, who has added great strength to the passing and receiving game of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beginning last year, and he joins us here on the Mayor's Hour. And tell us a little bit about your background, where you came from and so forth.
Well, I'm from the Washington, D.C. area, born and raised in Washington, D.C. And
You got some fans out here, too.
born and raised in the D.C. area, grew up there, went to the University of Illinois, you know, now I'm here.
And I know last year you had some health problems and came on strong at the end of the season and have continued that move this season.
Yes.
What are your thoughts now in looking at the passing game and so forth of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and your role in it?
You know, it's going to get better. It's going to grow. It's going to definitely grow. You know, it's a lot of young guys around, and it's a chance for all of us to mesh together with a young quarterback. And we're going to keep striving forward. You know, we're going to correct our mistakes and just get better. You know, it's a chance for us to grow, like I said, and, you know, be better for the future while we're getting better now.
As we record this right now, of course, this show runs all month, but we're 4-4.
Yep.
And I understand you guys are looking now at a 12-4 season, maybe.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, we look at it, no one can beat us but ourselves, and we just got to put forth our effort, you know, like we do in the starts and practice, and, you know, we got to strive and take care of each game as itself, and, you know, just keep looking forward to great things.
I know one of the problems you've had is some penalties that really shouldn't have happened and things like that, and I know Coach Morris has said we got to do something about that. What do you do about those kinds of penalties anyway? How do you work that out?
It starts with practice, paying attention to detail, and you know, practicing the correct way, and you know, just knowing we have to do it, executing, and start early, and just go out there, execute our plays, and you know, just cut down on the mental mistakes, and you know, get in our game book and know our execution plan.
You got a great leader in Josh Freeman, no doubt about that. I mean, he showed it last year, and we're seeing flashes of it again this year. And obviously, he and people like you are the future for our Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But how much on the same page are you guys? Do you ever get in a huddle and say, "Hey, I've got this move. I can do this. I've got this guy's number," or something like that? How does that happen?
You know, it's just like playing in the backyard. It's something that you call and you see it. You know, so if you see it and you see it clear and you know what's going to happen, or you know you have a guy, you know, you just alert him. You may not get to it at that play, but you know it's going to be a lot of situations where we can't get to it, and I'm pretty sure Josh's going to make the correction. You know, with Coach Olsen, our OC, to make the correct call, and you know they're good at that, and we're all good at that, and we're still learning at it.
And I guess you talk to the coaches on the sideline saying, "Hey, I can do this," or I mean, you get to know who your defender is pretty well out there. I mean, I'm sure you look at them on film beforehand, but even get a better look in the game, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And you know, we look at film, and a lot of times stuff may not happen as we see it on film, and it's just a simple fact that we have to go out there and adjust, and you know that's what we practice for, and we have the guys around when we can just go out there and adjust and you know get acclimated to what they're playing against.
Well, as a fan, we're mighty happy to see you healthy this year and taking up where you left off at the end of last season, and I'm sure the only person happier is Josh Freeman. And Arrelious, thanks for joining us on the Mayor's Hour.
Thanks for having me.
We're joined now by Micheal Spurlock, who it's nice to be talking to some guy. It's about my size here for a change. You're in a room full of pretty big guys in there.
Yeah, a lot of guys to protect me, so everybody look at me and, you play football, you're pretty small, but we got to run fast to get away from the big guys.
I can imagine that. Tell us a little bit about your background, where you came from and coming to the Buccaneers.
I'm originally from Indianola, Mississippi. It's called the Delta. Catfish and cotton, that's all that's there. I went to Ole Miss and signed as a free agent to Arizona. I was here 07, 08, left, went to San Fran, came back 2009 till now. So that is the story.
Well, it has to be a great thing to be in a program like this with a guy like a Josh Freeman, who people are saying great things about his future, which his future depends on people like you.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. I mean, I've seen him from afar, and now being here and being able to play with him, I mean, the arrow just still pointing up for him. He's still, still scratching the surface and just keep getting better each and every day. So the fans here have a lot to look forward to for the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah, and guys like you working along with him. The interesting thing is, one thing he has developed very young in his career is this ability to come from behind, kind of a Joe Montana look to him.
Oh, yeah.
What's that like when you're working with him in a situation where you're trying to pull a comeback like that?
I mean, everybody is just calm because that's where we do our best work, is coming from behind and being in the fourth quarter. I mean, if you just look at his background, when the fourth quarter comes, he's probably one of the most calm and collective guys you've ever been around to be quarterback. So he just makes everybody else calm, and it's just fun being out there with him, going down the final drive to win the game.
Do you get in those situations where you go to him and say, Josh, I was wide open. Josh, you gotta look for me, baby. Come on.
Well, as an old quarterback, you try not to go.
Oh, you used to be a quarterback,
yes,
so you know
I did.
about that.
So, yeah, you get that a lot from other guys. So you try not to be one of those guys because in the back of your mind, you're always open, and I always think you can, as a quarterback, you always think the receiver could have made that play. So just kind of be calm, and we'll talk about it on Mondays and just get better.
Well, right now, as we said, we are recording the Mayor's Hour, which will run for the full month, but it's happening here when you're 4-4.
Correct.
And I know Coach Raheem Morris doesn't let that bother him at all, and you guys are thinking much higher. You guys genuinely think that you can maybe hit double digits again this year for victories?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, it's a lot of football left to be played, and we still haven't played our best football. So we know what we can do. Nobody else knows. So we just got to go out and on Sundays start this week, and let's get back on the right foot and get a W and just try to get a chain of them on going into November, December. That's when you got to be playing your best ball.
Michael, have you found some good food around here like you had back in Mississippi?
Well, my wife, she's from Mississippi, so I get a lot of home-cooked meals, and then my mom comes in. So I get a lot of good eating, either at home or sometimes we go out to restaurants. Charlie Steakhouse is our best restaurant that we go to.
Now, that's not Delta food there.
No, but it's a great steak there. So that's where our little date night on Friday, that's where we go. But, I mean, my wife and my mom do a great job. I don't really need to go out.
Are you enjoying being in the Tampa Bay area?
Oh, I love it. Have you seen that weather? It's November and it's still hot. I call home, I tell them I still have short pants and, T-shirt on, and they got coats, and it's 30 degrees, 40 degrees. So, I mean, you can't beat this weather.
Well, we love having you here, being a part of it, Michael, and thanks for joining us on the Mayor's Hour.
Oh, no problem at all. Thank you all for having me. All right.
Joining us right now is the guy that keeps the running game going for our Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that is LeGarrette Blount, who was a fantastic addition to this team and really is the heart and soul of the running game. And LeGarrette, tell us a little bit about your background prior to coming to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where you're from and so forth.
Well, I'm originally from Perry, Florida, born and raised, and, didn't have the grades out of high school to do what I wanted to do, so I had to take the junior college route. And, fortunately I was able to, graduate from junior college and, further my football career to University of Oregon. And, the University of Oregon did me pretty well because, unfortunately I had a little incident, and then, I bounced back and I got a chance to play with Tennessee for a preseason, and then next thing you know, I'm here in Tampa, and I'm playing 3 weeks later. So, ever since then, I've tried my best not to come off the football field.
Well, you were called the best discovery the Buccaneers have come up with in a long time because of what you've displayed on the field. I mean, there are a lot of players that are looking up at you when you're running down the field, which is pretty amazing.
It's a blessing, and you
look like a hurdler out there.
Oh yeah, that's what I like to do. I like to entertain the fans, and I like to protect my legs. So I can do them both. I can do both of them at the same time, with a hurdle. And so a lot of people ask for that. A lot of people love to see it, and
oh yeah.
And I definitely love to do it. And it's fun. I have a lot of fun, you know.
It's got to make a tackler feel a little bad too, and all of a sudden, you know, he's coming down at you, and all of a sudden, wait a minute, where is he? He's gone.
And then yeah, I look at film and I see them when they get up, they're looking the wrong way because they think they've tackled me, you know, and then, you know, next thing you know, they don't feel nothing, and they just look up and turn around, and I'm running downfield, and then all they see, you know, me taking off, and you know, unfortunately, you know, by the time I hit the ground, this league is so fast that by the time I hit the ground, there's 2 more guys on me, so I'm gonna have to learn how to get up and over somebody and get up to like a 4.4 speed before somebody get to me.
You got to work on that. It has to be nice to be able to be in Florida. And, I mean, you know, you're pretty accustomed to the weather and all that kind of thing, playing football in it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's lovely. You know, I'm blessed to be so close to home because, I mean, my house is only 3.5 hours away from here. So I can drive home, you know, at any time. And, you know, my parents and my family, you know, come up to every single home game. You know, they come up to they drive to Carolina, they drive to Atlanta. You know, they enjoy themselves, and you know, I love playing in front of them.
You know, a lot of people are critical. It's always the you know, the people that are checking out the game after the game's over saying should have done this, should have done that, and a lot of times we hear that they should have run LeGarrette more. Do you ever get in there and say, hey, call my number, I'm just getting it going now?
Nah, I don't. You know, I just kind of sit back and, you know, wait for my number to be called, you know, and try to show them that they should call it more. You know, and I go out there and I try to break a long run every time I touch the football. I go for a touchdown. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I try to do every time I touch the football.
Well, you got a lot of fans that are ready to call the coaches and say, hey, put them in there more. They love it when you go out there.
Oh, I love being out there. You know, I try my best to stay out there as much as possible. You know, I always tell the coaches I never want to come out of the game. You know, so you know, I try my best to let them know that. And you know, so I mean, sometimes they take it to heart. You know, sometimes they play me a lot more. You know, and you know, sometimes we get behind in certain situations, and then you know, I have to play a little bit less.
Yeah. How do you feel about the blocking assignments that you get in there, which obviously running backs have to do that these days?
Oh yeah, I'm comfortable with my blocking assignments. I know my blocking assignments, and I feel like you know, if they needed me to, you know, I can go in there and perform, you know, at a high level as far as protecting the quarterback.
Well, it's great to have you here with us on the Mayor's Hour, and it's great to have you with our Tampa Bay Buccaneers because you certainly brought a great dimension to the running game. So thanks for joining us, LeGarrette.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
For sure.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Jack, this was a great show. We got a chance to see Coach Morris, Connor Barth.
Yep. He's a funny guy.
He really is. Yeah, he's a kicker.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, kickers are a little bit quirky, I guess. You
They
know.
are.
I always wonder what the players say to him when he misses a kick and they all pat him on the back and pat him on the head. I'm sure they don't say, nice try, we get it next time. There must be something else that
when
they
you're
say.
making a living doing that, and your bonuses depend on it too.
Yes.
Everybody's do.
But, you know, Mark Dominik, what a great young leader.
Oh, yeah. We are very fortunate to have Dominik and Morris as part of this. And Dominik, I mean, is just unbelievable what he does in the community and how he gets his players involved in that outreach, too. It's really great.
It really is. And, you know, we've had 2 great shows. We had the new leadership of the Tampa Bay Lightning last month.
Oh, yeah. We're very fortunate there, too.
We've got the Bucks, which are a young organization on the move. You know, I'm sure at some point we'll be with the Tampa Bay Rays and Coach Madden. And,
yep.
And
we have overachievers when it comes to professional sports teams. I mean, nobody thought the Bucks would be 10-6 last year. I mean, they'd have taken you for a drug test if you'd said they were going to win 10 games. Same thing with the Rays. Who'd have thought they'd ever made the playoffs after they got rid of so many players? And then the Lightning going all the way to the final 3. It was just amazing. I want to bring up a couple of things that you're doing, speaking of good things happening around the community, but this effort to get a boutique-type hotel in the courthouse, that is a fantastic idea because I've seen these kinds of places, old historic buildings doing that. I know in Boston they've got that classic building with a clock and all that was a trade building or whatever, but I mean, you find them in some of the big cities, and what a great place that would be for a boutique hotel downtown.
Well, Jack, you know, that's a grand old dame in downtown Tampa. I mean, it's
Yep.
on the National Historic Registry. It is a building built in a time and a place when they really built buildings. You know, the marble inside it, the high ceilings, the architecture, the details in the woodwork inside that building.
Yeah.
Shame on us if we don't put it back to good use. And there have been a lot of attempts over the years. For whatever reasons, they didn't work. We think, based on talking to a lot of developers, that a hotel is probably the best fit for that.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And I've traveled to a lot of cities where those buildings are put back on the tax rolls in a productive fashion. And so I'm willing to be as aggressive as I have to be to get that done. And so we're putting out an RFP. I think we're going to get some responses on it. I think folks will be very, very happy with certainly the designs that I've seen so far.
Yeah.
And it's an exciting time, and to see that building put back to use and to a productive use really would make a difference on that Florida Avenue corridor, as well as the area leading right into the new Curtis Hickson Park and the Curtis Hickson Museums. You start to create some critical mass there that didn't exist, and so I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I saw, by the way, an Atlantic magazine had some great things to say about Curtis Hickson Park.
Mm-hmm. They sure did.
And, you know, when you put that together with ultimately the Riverwalk, and we get that finished, and especially when it goes into West Tampa and the kind of things you're trying to do over there, I know that restaurant idea and things like that. And the future for our downtown is looking better and better. I mean, it's going to be
food
nice.
truck fiesta. I mean,
Oh,
there
I
were
love that.
1,000 people downtown last week. That rising tide floated all the boats. Some of the restaurants were telling me that was the best Wednesday that they had ever had because there were so many people down there.
And it gets so many people acquainted
Yes.
with downtown Tampa that otherwise wouldn't be down there, but they will go to a food festival.
That's exactly right. I had people who were coming from Clearwater and St. Petersburg who normally would never come to downtown.
Yeah.
They came because of the food trucks, and they had a great time. And you're right, Atlantic Magazine named Curtis Hickson Park, and we really have to give Mayor Iorio the credit for this, as one of the 10 best, newest parks, urban parks in America. And so now that synergy between the Tampa Museum, the Children's Museum, who are doing gangbusters. I mean, their numbers are off the charts. Curtis Hickson right there, it's creating a critical mass that we never had before. And so,
Yeah.
you know, I wake up every day thinking about, you know, what can we do to add to this? And so, I mean, it's exciting time for this community, and you know, I'm just lucky to have the chance to be here.
Oh, it's great. And we, this morning we were talking to Joe Lopano at the airport. Great things going to begin happening out there, and I think ultimately, I'm hoping ultimately some kind of transit system to downtown, down to the convention center and the forum and that area. And I mean, it's looking way down the road here, but like they say, the future's so bright, you got to wear shades.
It is, and you got to build for the future. I mean,
Yep.
if you build for today, you're failing, and you're doing a disservice to the next generation. I mean, like this team, young general manager, young, energetic coach, young players. I mean, I think the city has turned a page in many different facets,
Yeah.
both generationally and politically and athletically. And so we're ready for the next iteration of our life as a community. And I think it's exciting. I really do.
I love it.
Well, Jack, thanks, as always.
My pleasure.
Jack always sporting the colors of his team, and you know, he's been involved with the Bucs for more years than I can imagine. We're lucky to have a chance to be here and to interview some great folks, and we thank you. I want you to support the Bucs, and we'll see you next month.